Hello everyone, my name is Joe, welcome to Genius of Joe. Today guys, we're in my favourite app, Set-A-Light. I'm going to show you a simple 2-light setup that you can use on your next portrait studio, photo shoot. I basically use this setup on every single photo shoot I do. I use it, I adapt it, I add some more lights, all that type of stuff. And this setup is extremely customizable. You can easily customize it to the look that you want, which I'm going to show you in this video. So let's get into it. So first thing, let's start with the key light. It's 2-light setup. First light is a key light. We can really use any modifier you like. Let's say for me, I'm using a Octabox, right? Octa, right? Octa softbox. So obviously first we've got the key light. Really simple. Play around the lighting a little bit, guys. If you're new to lighting, just really play around the light sources, play around with the angles, play around with how the light affects the shadows, all that type of stuff. A rule would be the closest the light is to the camera, the less shadow there is going to be on the model's face. But the further away, the more shadow. So you can see if I put it here, it's quite split lighting. There's only lighting on one side of her face, but I put it more here. It's kind of more like loop lighting. You've got like the gradual roll off, and there's only shadow on one side of her face here. So it's really up to you here, guys. Again, you can use any modifier you like. You can use a softbox, you can use a beauty dish, you can use a reflector dish. Doesn't really matter, but for now I'm going to put a Octa. And guys, if you want to create a lighting with some sort of like meaning behind it and some intention to make it as good as possible, think about that story or that theme that you're trying to tell in your photo and go back to that with the lighting. How will the lighting affect that theme, right? What lighting setup would be best for that story? So in this case, if you're using one light source here, what angle should the light be on to get the lighting that you want, to tell the theme that you want in your photos? So again, like if you're going for a more beauty look, maybe you want the light directly in front, and then you want it a bit higher angle here behind the camera and have it much more powerful, right? Maybe you want a more beauty look, right? Obviously you can bring the light closer and the camera closer, obviously. Maybe you want more dramatic look, right? Maybe it's just like you want to get more moody and more contrast, whatever it is, then boom, look at that, and you get more shadow on her face. You got like really play around with the angles, the distance, the height of the light to see how it affects the shadows on the model's face, because that is really what's gonna impact your photos the most, right? Like if you're trying to go for a beauty look, you're not going to put the light source on a split light. You're not going to do like something like this and do something really dramatic and creepy looking, you know what I mean? You're going to be more closer to the camera where there's less shadow, and it's going to show off more of the face and more the beauty look, you know what I mean? But if you're doing the opposite, like moody, you may want to do it like the opposite, like here. But you know what I mean? Like really think about the story here, guys. Don't just put your light anywhere. Again, light with intention. Don't just put your light anywhere because, oh, that looks kind of cool, I guess. Like, no. Think about that story that you want to tell in your photos and go back to that and be like, okay, what lighting setup would best suit this? At least for the key light in this case, what position what type of shadows would be best for this? Okay, so let's say I made my mind up now. This is where I want the key light to be. Nice little roll off. It's nice looking, right? So now let's introduce our second light source. It's a 2-light setup, and that is our rim lights. I love rim lights, guys. So I usually use a beauty dish from the rim lights. It's like more of a harder light source, and you want to place it on like a 45-degree angle behind the model here. And already, I like to put the grid on it as well. Already, look how nice that looks already, right? Where it is already, like it's like that lovely little like highlight on the side of her face here. So if I make this look that, looks like that, obviously I can make it more powerful. You can see this like the little outline on the side of her face here. It creates that separation from the background too, because it creates that outline and then you're separating her from the backdrop, and you're creating that depth. You're creating some type of depth there. You're just creating a much more flattering image, if that makes any sense. And the reason why I like to have the rim light on this side of the model's face rather than, let's say, on this side, if I'm going to have one rim light, it looks much better if I have it on the shadow side, because you're cross-lighting it. I think that's the term, cross-lighting. You're cross-lighting it, right? You have one light on this side of the face and another light on that side of the face, and it creates that it looks much better than if I had it on this side, in my opinion. If I had it on this side, it doesn't really look that good if it's just one light source, but have it on this side, it looks much more better in my opinion. Obviously, it doesn't have to be a hard light source. Right now I've got a beauty dish with a grid on it. By the way, if you don't know what grids do, basically all it does is narrow down the light source even more. So right now I've got a grid on it, but if I take the grid off, you can see how the light source is kind of spreading onto the background a little bit here. So if I solo this, you can see how it's kind of spread onto the background. It doesn't look that good in my opinion in this situation, so you probably want it on the grid on. So you see now it's narrowed down to hitting just the model, or I think the grid on the inside doesn't really, I think it's a little bit less, but yeah, grid on the outside here. Same thing with other modifiers. So if I switch this to a reflected dish, same thing here. If I put a grid on it, boom, you see how it's only, you see how it's that. It's a bit more brighter, a bit more harsh, but you can see how it's only lit like that part. Again, modifiers, you got 20 degree honeycomb, 10 degree, obviously 10 degrees is like 10 degrees, 30 degrees bigger, 40 degrees, you get the point. So yeah, obviously you can make this a soft light source or a hard light source. Again, like, you could make it a softbox, but you can make it a softbox. So in this situation, it really depends what softbox you use, I guess, but sometimes it isn't as prominent. Like right now, this one's probably decent, but again, like, you have this issue of it spilling onto the background here. Even if I put a grid on it, right, I guess less background here, spill here, but then you kind of see the spill on the ground here, which is not that noticeable, I guess. But I personally like to use a hard light source because it makes it more prominent and you can really see it, and it really kind of like, it makes the lighting a lot more contrasty, right? Because you've got that difference. You've got that nice soft lighting on the model's face, and then you've got that more harsh look, that more harsh light source, that brighter light source on the side of the model, just to create that juxtaposition. You know what I mean? Having that difference, having that contrast there, right? Which is really nice, of course. You obviously could use a soft light source. Right now, the soft light source looks quite nice, but I personally like to use a harder light source, let's say like a reflected dish, put like a 30 degree honeycomb on it, and you just have that much like harsher highlight, and it looks nicer in my opinion. But guys, the beauty about this setup is it's quite customizable. It's very customizable. You don't have to have it as a rim light. Like, I like that because that's like kind of my style. I like to do that, but you could put it more as a backlight maybe, right? Obviously pretend it's on a C stand, take the stand off here. Now you can have it more as like a top light or a backlight. So this is like a top light hair light, as you can kind of see here. If I solo this, you can see now it's creating an outline on here, kind of shoulders, on the top of her head, on her neck, on a little bit of an arm here, right? Like, you could have it maybe like directly behind her. Obviously, it's a bit of an issue here because you have to hide it behind her. But you know what I mean, you got this now. You've got like an outline, literal like a silhouette outline on her whole entire body, and you can kind of have that look here. You kind of see that, right? It's really customizable. I've used basically every combination. I've used rim lights, I've used it as a backlight, I've used it as a top or hair light. You can do so much with this one light source. You don't really have to move the key light at all. But again though, guys, think about the story or the theme that you're trying to show off in your photo. So again, now we've looked at with this one, the key light and how like that affects it and how the shadows affect like that, right? Now show how we need to look into how the rim light or the whatever light it is, how that affects the story. So if it's more of a rim light, maybe you do the rim light because you want to emphasize the jawline a little bit more, because it does emphasize the jawline a little bit more. Maybe you want to emphasize the jawline a bit more to make him look more attractive. So maybe you are going for a beauty look, or maybe you are going for this more masculine, whatever look it is, more powerful look. Again, if it was a backlight, maybe you're trying to signify that this person's like an angel or something like that, or this person's like the star of the show, is like the main character, you know what I mean? Like, they're there, it's like, that's them, you know what I mean? I don't know, right? You got that. Maybe if it's a top light, maybe again, like, you're signifying there's something above them. Maybe there's like heaven above them, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, you can really like be super creative with this stuff. And guys, you don't have to just think about the story or the theme that you want to tell in your photo. You can just think about like your general intentions. Like, what do you want to show off in the photo? So again, if it is like you want to show off clothing, it's like a fashion shoot, you want to show off the clothing pieces, maybe you want like maybe have the rim light like here where it is right now, kind of like just lighting up this part here, kind of highlighting the clothes and not really the face, but highlighting the body a little bit more. And again, because it's customizable, you could add another light in here. So if I duplicate this, here, maybe have it on this side now and have it down here. So now like you've highlighted the clothes more than her face. So now it's like you're showing off the clothes more now. It's like the clothes is the main subject of the entire photo shoot. Like, really play around with this stuff, guys, because that is what's going to help you get the best lighting possible, is having that intention and actually understanding how each light source affects the image, and learning, just knowing what story and what theme that you're going for in your photo shoot, so you can approach that in your lighting. And by the way, guys, if you want more guidance with learning how to light like a pro, learning how to actually light with intention, and learning all the basics of lighting, guys, click the second link below, which is my portrait lighting course. You get access to my portrait lighting course when you join my paid program, Photogenius University. That will tell you everything that I know about lighting. It'll break down everything that I know about lighting to make it super easy for you to follow, because I know a lot of these lighting videos can be quite confusing and lighting can be a very daunting thing to understand. So I made this course simply so it's really simple to understand, basically. Because guys, if you want to create stylized work and you want to start landing your dream clients, you need to know how to light your subject, guys, especially in the early stages when you're not going to have like access to lighting assistants and people just doing the lighting for you. You need to understand lighting and how light sources work. So again, guys, click the second link below if you want to get that course and actually learn how to light like a pro and understand how to light with intention. Because the reason why I wanted to make this quick video, guys, is because a lot of you guys are just introducing too many lights all at once. I actually made a whole video about why your studio lighting sucks, which I'll put up here. You can check out after this video, right? This video's almost done now, but I speak to people on my paid program for Genius University. By the way, again, second link below, you can join today, right? I speak to them on that and they're like, oh, I don't really understand lighting. It's like, it's really hard for me. Like, what is this? And like, they do a studio light shoot, right? They do a studio shoot. I'm like, okay, how many lights do you have here? And there's like, oh, I got like 4 lights here. Like, 4 lights? Why are you using 4 lights and you barely understand how to use one of the lights? And it's not like the lighting's really, really good. It's like, it's like mediocre at best. And you can tell they're not really like understanding where to put the light. They're just putting it in random places, right? But here in this setup here, it's just 2 lights. I've had to delete this light. This is just 2 lights. That's it. It's just 2 lights. It's a 2 light setup and that is it. So first, before you start introducing like 60 different lights, start with one light source first and then like put this rim light in there. And then once you've mastered this 2 light setup, you can really light anywhere you like, because now you understand how rim lights and backlights and top lights work. You can customize the key light. You can customize like as a beauty dish, reflector dish, a softbox, whatever it is, you can recustomize it. You can like add another rim light, add another backlight. You can have a backlight, a rim light, or 2 rim lights, a backlight, and then a softbox. Whatever you do, you can really customize it. So once you understand this, you can understand most lighting setups. Anyway, guys, that is it for the video. Thank you for watching. Hope you found this little guide useful. I want to make this video, yeah, understand lighting a bit more. It's very simple stuff, guys, but it's just like you need to understand it, right? So yeah, click on any of these videos here to learn more about portrait photography, and I'll see you next time, guys. Goodbye.